the issues of the drugs that are in the state of Alabama. And I completely understand that everywhere you go, no matter where you are at, you have issues with drugs everywhere. However, it's certain places within this state in particular, in the state of Alabama, it's a lot more concentrated. Now, I have no idea if politicians are doing absolutely anything to implement changes, but I see a lot less being done to repair this particular state, as far as economy, as far as jobs are concerned, as far as the rights of animals, and of our air pollution, and especially of the roads. The roads are absolutely terrible. There's so many people, just like a lot of the people that inject illegal substances of drugs into their veins, into the self-infliction of harm in the temple of their own bodies. They do this because they feel absolutely cornered. They feel as if they are hopeless. They are ones without inspiration. They feel as if they're meaningless. Their lives are so diminutive, so futile, non-existent. Almost as if a blink of an eye, you know, a blink of an eye, and they're just, they don't exist. A lot of them, they feel sorry for themselves. They have a self-loathing mentality. And you know, it's one thing to cope if you are one to have been a victim of your particular past, of whatever that issue may have been, or if you have psychological issues, if you have something wrong with your mind. It's never a positive thing to feel sorry for yourselves, and especially if you believe that you have to be someone to dabble into illegal drugs in order to cope with reality, to find some sort of purpose or meaning of your existence. That is absolutely not the answer. That's not the way to go. That's not the way to live your existence. This life is abundance and radiating full of light and beauty. You have to find inspiration from inside of yourself. You have to discover that fire and recognize it. And once you recognize it, you know, you alone, you have the willingness to change yourself from siphoning yourself from the negative into the positive. You have that power. Your mind is the greatest weapon of all things. It's just like I always talked about in my previous videos. You alone are, how you deal with life in human existence is how you deal with everything. How you deal the cards you're dealt. And for me personally, you know, I rose from nothingness into who I am today, into the successful person that I am today. Not because I felt sorry for myself, not because I listened to everybody else around me, but because I actually taken implements of gradual steps towards changes. And I have manifest changes. I'm blessed by the Creator, God Himself, or itself, and the universe. You know, and through my craft, I actually had conjured this for myself. I had manifested this for myself all around me. And this is the thing that, like Ralph Smart, a lot of these people will not tell you, that you alone, you have the power to manifest yourself for who you are, for everything that you are. No one else is responsible for you. You are responsible for yourself. And it's absolutely sad to me to see a lot of these, what I call mindless zombies, the zombie apocalypse, where these mindless drones are walking around, one foot in a grave and the other foot out on walking around. But you know, they're so drugged out of the minds when they're walking around in stores, out in public, and they have to abuse themselves with an over intoxication of drugs, of alcohol, of whatever vices that you have. And it's all about the power of the mind and your own will to allow yourself, you have to allow yourself to concentrate all of your entirety of your will and your self-worth and your determination to pull yourself out from the matrix, to pull yourself out from the darkness, and a lot of things I talk about, it's not opinion based, it's factual based. You know, you have to be one to have a self-realization, a self-determination, a motivation to see yourself, a reflection of yourself into the mirror, and recognize that you are the problem. The choices that you have made is a reflection upon your own character, and your own character is a representation for who you are. It determines the outline and the factors for who you are as a human being, whether you choose to walk in quote-unquote good or quote-unquote evil. And even myself, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that concept. But it's the most recognizable factor of this characteristics of what humanity and society recognizes light and darkness. Now, I always have believed that there has always have been a duality. And it's one thing for self-gratification, vices, as long as it's not inflicting harm upon someone else or yourself. You know, if you fall under either one of those categories or perhaps both, then that is absolutely not a positive thing in the slightest. The entire concentration of this platform was to help inspire, to influence the world around me. And you alone, like I said, you have the power to manifest your own reality, to manifest your own desires and your own will. And everyone is imbued and embedded with their own free will, their own freedom to make their own choices. And if you choose to dabble with illegal substances of drugs and find yourself end up in jail or in prison, then you do the crime and you do the time. It makes sense. It's common sense. I completely understand that all of 2020, and especially this year, is not much different. It's actually a lot worse. Every year becomes worse and worse. So never fall upon his hopes and dreams about the world is getting better because you choose to do nothing about it. You have to be the representation to catapult yourself, to be the catalyst, to be that inspiration, that light, that leading example. And just like I myself, like, I don't want to sound like I'm full of myself, but you know, as far as I'm concerned, there's not really many people talking about a lot of things and leading by example. There's a lot of people talking, but there's no one much. Remember that word now, much, okay? Not many people are actually doing things about it. It's a lot easier to procrastinate and complain about the issues. But it's just surreal to me that, you know, people have to cope with their depression and their suicidal thoughts or whatever else negative of their emotions to dabble in the infliction of harm against themselves or against others. And especially the people that take out a lot of their frustration and their anger whenever they go out in public. They got to take it out on people while driving on a road or shopping around in public. And, you know, that's just ridiculous to me. That's pathetic to me. And personally, people, I believe, have absolutely no reason or should not use drugs unless if it's prescription medication. Now, if it's medicinal, medical, then that's a whole different spectrum. That's a whole different realm in itself. Or unless if you are someone to use natural substances of sacred herbs into your body as such, you know, white sage or mugwort. Just like I said, you have the power, you have the authority to govern, to rule over your own life. You have no excuse in hell in the world to blame your life situation, the outcome of your life, your emotions, your state of mind onto somebody else. To use somebody else as a scapegoat for your problems, for anything that you do or do not do or choose not to do. And everything befalls upon your own perspective, your own life choices. And just imagine a world would be so much of a better place without of all the drugs inside of it, without of all the corruption inside of it. Yes, there is a global awakening that is happening more and more. However, the way I see it is people struggle because they allow themselves to fail. They not so much destined to fail, they are more of, they have this false notion and belief that they are somehow not able to doing anything. Like, as if they're not capable of doing these things, to change their lives, to change their lives towards something better, something greater. And there's so many people that, like I said, they feel sorry for themselves. They suffer because they allow themselves to suffer. If we remove the blindfolds from our eyes, our lives would be so much better. Once you dabble into the arts, the mystical arts of the metaphysical, you find yourself to unlocking so many doors within that the universe, what you invoke into your life, what you manifest for yourself in your life, becomes so much more cleaner, so much more clear, and life becomes better. It changes, it revolutionizes your life so much to the point where your past becomes, as well as your present, unrecognizable. There are so many people that are destined. There are so many people that believe they are destined to fail. There are so many people that suffer because they allow themselves to suffer. They blame everything else on everyone else. They have no determination, no light to lead by example. They do not believe in themselves. They do not harness the unlimited power of the universe around them into the collective reality that they call their own. And anyone can accomplish anything. It may seem impossible to better your life, to reach that light at the end of the tunnel. However, with everything, it requires patience, practice, time, your motivation to lead your own life through your own inspiration, your own influence, to be that power of your mind, to allow your mind to be that weapon, for you to be in control of your own emotions. And whatever you do in this life governs the outcome of your future. You have to be the one to inspire yourself. You have to be the one to get up off the sofa, to rise out of bed, to no longer be depressed, to no longer feel these negative, quote-unquote, negative emotions. And to go out into the world, to become that change in the world. I know it sounds impossible, but like I said, I don't believe in the word impossible, because everything is possible. Everything in the world is absolutely possible. You have the power to achieve the greatest visions that you set forth for yourself. You have absolutely no idea.